This book completely changed my trading career. Ghost in the Chart warmly welcomes you, ladies and gentlemen. Trading in the Zone was the book that changed everything for me. Silent trading greets you. I'm a trader who once blew up accounts, who once thought I'd never beat the market, who spent countless nights staring at charts wanting to give up forever. My journey began in 2017. Back then, I believed trading was simple. Buy low, sell high. I saw others flaunt their profits and thought I could do the same. I dived into systems, indicators, backtesting, and then started trading with real money. I'll never forget 2019 when I lost over $1 million in just 2 weeks. That money wasn't just numbers. It was everything I'd saved through over a year of work, long hours, skipped meals, and every bit of sacrifice I could make. The shock was devastating. I couldn't understand where I went wrong. I had a system. I had the trend right. My entries were precise. But when the market reversed, I didn't cut my loss. I held on, hoping, believing it would come back. I added more funds to rescue the position until everything was gone. That feeling was terrifying. I questioned whether I was cut out for this, if I was simply too stupid to trade. I stopped and returned to an office job. But the question haunted me. Why did I lose even when I thought I did everything right? I began reading books on trading psychology, searching for answers no technical course had ever offered. That's when I discovered Mark Douglas's Trading in the Zone. Every page felt like a mirror reflecting my mental weaknesses. It shook me. I realized the problem wasn't in my system, my models, or my tools. The problem was me. I used to think all I needed was a high win rate system. I chased the Holy Grail. I believed great traders were those who could predict the market accurately. But Mark Douglas exposed that as a fatal misconception. He wrote one line I will never forget. The consistency you seek is not in the market, it's in your mind. This book doesn't talk about indicators, strategies, or scalping. It's purely about psychology, and it was exactly what I needed. I had lost because of my emotions. I had broken discipline out of greed, traded out of revenge when angry, believed the market was against me, blamed bad luck, the news, the broker, even the spreads. But after reading Trading in the Zone, I finally understood that the market didn't hurt me. I did. That book wasn't just a book. It was a wake-up call for those who still fantasize about perfect systems and magic formulas. Mark Douglas taught me one essential truth. Trading is not a battle with the market. It's a battle within yourself. From that day on, I began to see things differently. I stopped trying to predict the market. I focused on risk management. I learned to accept losing a trade without losing my mindset. This video isn't for those seeking buy or sell signals. It's for those in mental crisis, who've felt the sting of loss in trading, who've hit rock bottom. Whether you've lost $1 million like I did, 10,000, or even just a few hundred, this book might change you the way it changed me. Trading in the Zone is a thin book, but its value is as deep as the blood and tears of every trader. Before reading it, I believed trading was a game for smart people, a field dominated by complex strategies, where the best technical analysts would win. I was confident. I studied every indicator market, Bollinger Bands. I trained with candlestick patterns engulfing, pin bars, shooting stars. I thought if my analysis was good enough, the market would follow my expectations. I was right many times, but I still wasn't profitable. My account would go up, then right back down. Sometimes I'd win 5 trades in a row, only to lose everything on the 6th. I became confused. I thought maybe my system needed improvement, so I kept adjusting strategies, adding more rules, trying to increase my win rate. I changed methods constantly. Every loss made me doubt. I never had the patience to stick with one approach. I kept switching. I didn't realize I was trapped in a cycle, searching, trying, failing. I had never understood the concept of statistical edge. I just wanted to win immediately. I traded with the mindset that I had to be right. I was tense. Every time I placed a trade, I stared at the chart, zooming in and out, watching every candle with trembling hands. Each market spike made my heart jump. I held on to profits. Then the market reversed and I cut for a loss. Then it moved in my favor and I was filled with regret. My emotions were fragile. One winning trade made me euphoric, so I increased my position size. Then a loss made me furious and I re-entered to get revenge. I didn't realize I was gambling with my emotions, not following a plan. I thought I had a strategy, but I was just reacting. I had no process. I didn't even know why I entered trades. I didn't journal, didn't log statistics, just acted on feelings. Once, I held a losing trade for an entire week, afraid to even look at the account. When I finally checked, it was nearly empty. I blamed the market, blamed the news, blamed my phone for selecting the wrong lot size. But deep down, I knew I had lost control. I was trading in psychological chaos, without consistency or discipline. I sought out mentors, joined groups, bought signal services, even paid for trading robots. But nothing worked because I had never stopped to ask the one question that really mattered. Do I even understand the market? Not yet. I thought the market was something you could predict. I believed enough analysis could give me control over outcomes. I didn't realize the market isn't something to control, it's something to adapt to. Every trade is just a probability. No one knows what will happen next. I wasn't ready to accept that. I needed to win. I needed to prove I was right. I needed to recover my losses. And that need drove me into terrible decisions. I wasn't trading. I was gambling with my emotions. I didn't have a trader's mindset. I was reacting like a gambler. I wasn't in control. The market was controlling me. It wasn't until I read Trading in the Zone that I finally woke up. I learned a painful truth. I didn't lose because I lacked knowledge. I lost because I couldn't control myself. That's when I decided to change, not by finding a new system, but by understanding myself. The first lesson that struck me was probability thinking. Before that, I believed every trade had a clear right or wrong outcome. If I analyzed it well, if the signal was clear, if the setup looked perfect, then I should win. I believed that completely. I used to feel so confident when price hit support. RS I was oversold, MACD crossed up, and a big engulfing candle appeared. I entered without hesitation. Then minutes later, the market reversed and I lost. I stared at the red numbers, questioning everything. I doubted the system and searched for a new one. And so I drifted, jumping from one method to another. I didn't know my real mistake was how I thought about the market. I believed correct analysis guaranteed a win. And if I lost, it meant I was wrong and needed to fix something. But Mark Douglas made a point that made me stop and reflect. Every trade is just one outcome in a series of random results. No one knows what will happen next. It sounds simple, but it took me a long time to understand and accept it. Because deep inside, I had expectations for every trade. I wanted it to win. I needed it to follow my analysis. When it didn't, I felt frustrated or angry. Mark Douglas said you can win 10 trades in a row, but that doesn't guarantee the 11th. And you can lose many trades, but if you have a real edge, your long-term results can still be profitable. I began logging every trade. I wrote down the reason for entry, my emotions, and the final result. After 100 trades, I saw the truth. My system wasn't bad. It had a win rate around 60%. But I wasn't consistent. Sometimes I followed the rules. Other times, I rushed in out of fear of missing out or exited early due to market noise. The problem wasn't the system, it was me. Mark Douglas emphasized that even with a good method, if you don't execute it consistently, you'll still lose. I finally understood that trading isn't about predicting the market. It's about repeating the same process over and over through a sequence of random outcomes. You can't know if the next trade will win or lose, but you can control how you respond, how you manage risk, and how you maintain your statistical edge. I stopped caring so much about single wins or losses. I started thinking long-term. After 10 trades, after 100, after 1,000, is my account profitable? I no longer felt euphoric when I won or crushed when I lost. Because I knew one trade meant nothing, I stopped looking for the Holy Grail. I gave up the dream of finding a 90% win rate system. I learned to manage trades, set reasonable stop losses, define targets, and let go when the market didn't follow my plan. Sometimes I took profits too early. Sometimes I got stopped out and the market reversed. But I no longer blamed the market, because I finally understood it owes me nothing. The lesson of probability changed the way I see trading completely. There are traders who don't need to be right all the time, but they are always right in their approach. They understand that if they have an edge and the patience to repeat it with discipline, the profits will come. If you've made it this far and this story resonates with you, don't forget to like and share it. If you know someone who needs to hear this, share it so they don't have to lose their way. Thank you so much. After finishing trading in the zone, I felt like I had just walked out of a dark room. A place where I had been blindly searching for a way out, constantly running into walls I had built myself. The book didn't give me a blinding light, but it gave me just enough clarity to realize the problem was never the market or the system. It was how I thought, how I behaved, and how I responded to outcomes. I used to spend so much time trying to predict the market. I studied technical analysis, learned price patterns, watched charts across multiple time frames, waited for breakouts, drew support and resistance zones, monitored indicators, and hoped the price would follow the path I envisioned. When it didn't, I felt like I was wrong. I felt disappointed. I would revise my analysis or, worse, enter revenge trades. But after that book, my perspective changed completely. I realized that no one can predict the market. Even the best trader in the world can't say with certainty whether the next candle will be green or red. Trying to predict the market isn't just futile, it builds false expectations that make us emotionally vulnerable when things don't go our way. I shifted my focus from prediction to risk management. I asked myself, if this trade loses, how much of my account am I risking? I set a clear stop loss. I stopped moving my stop just because of a feeling. I didn't change my entry point impulsively. I defined my take profit level. And if the market didn't go the way I expected, I exited and waited for the next opportunity. This shift wasn't easy at first because it went against my natural instincts. I used to believe that being a good trader meant winning often. But Mark Douglas helped me understand that being good doesn't mean winning every time. It means knowing when to be in the market and when to stay out. It means knowing how to control losses to survive long enough for the real opportunities to come. I started focusing on consistency. I built a trade execution process, and I followed it. No matter if the last trade was a win or a loss. I no longer tweaked my system after just a few losing trades. I accepted that losing streaks are part of the game. I started to view everything through the lens of probability. Instead of expecting to win each trade, I focused on the outcome over 10 or even 100 trades. This shift reduced the psychological pressure. Trading became lighter. I no longer stared at the charts with tension. I stopped seeing every candle as an enemy. I began to view the market as a flow, sometimes in my favor, sometimes not. I couldn't force it to go my way, but I could learn to move with it and act when the time was right. My emotions began to stabilize. I remember when every red number in my account made my heart race and my hands sweat. Every small profit triggered the urge to close the trade immediately out of fear the market would reverse. Now I'm okay with losing a small part per trade because in return, I gain composure and emotional control. Trading is no longer a game of intelligence for me. It's a test of patience, discipline, and self-management. I no longer chase the Holy Grail. I just need a small edge and enough repetitions. That's the freedom Mark Douglas spoke of. Freedom doesn't come from winning every trade. It comes from not being emotionally attached to the outcome. I don't need the market to be right. I just need to stay right with my own plan. And strangely, when I stopped expecting every trade to win, I started making steady profits. When I stopped trying so hard to win, I started winning. Not because I became more skilled, but because I became calmer, clearer, and more confident in what I was doing. I still remember clearly that night in late May 2020 when I blew almost my entire account on a single trade. I sat silently in the dark, unable to even look at the chart. It was a trade I had high hopes for. Strong news support, perfect technical analysis, clear signals. I entered with confidence, no stop loss, thinking it was a guaranteed win. But life doesn't work that way. The market reversed sharply after a pump, and in just minutes, most of my account vanished. Have you ever been there? Sitting in front of your account, counting every dollar left after a devastating loss, asking yourself what you did wrong. Before reading Trading in the Zone, I used to think that all I needed was a great strategy and a high win rate. But then I realized I already had a system, a method, and knowledge. So why was I still losing? The answer was simple. I lacked consistency. I traded based on emotion. Sometimes I chased the market during a strong move. Sometimes I changed methods after a few losses. Sometimes I increased position size after a big win, thinking I was invincible. Other times, I was too afraid to even click the button. Are you trading like that too? Have you ever changed your approach just because of a losing streak? Mark Douglas said it clearly, if you're not consistent in your actions, you can't have consistent results in trading. It sounds easy, but it's incredibly hard because we're human. We have emotions, fears, hopes, and desires. We're affected by past results, by the news, by things beyond our control. In his book, he emphasized that we can only control what we do, not what the market does. That finally clicked for me after that account crash. I looked back at my loss and saw the problem wasn't bad analysis. It was that I broke my own rules. I didn't set a stop. I refused to accept I was wrong. I held on to the trade, kept hoping, even added more money. Have you ever done that? Holding on to a losing trade just because you couldn't accept defeat. After reading Trading in the Zone, I changed the way I trade. I rewrote my rules clearly. I set a maximum risk per trade. I respected stop losses without exception. Most importantly, I committed to never changing my system unless I had enough data to evaluate it properly. It was hard in the beginning. There were days I lost 3 trades in a row and wanted to quit. But I asked myself, is this really a system problem or just probability at play? I started journaling, tracking stats, and recording detailed trade logs. After hundreds of trades, I saw that when I followed my process and stayed disciplined, the long-term result was profitability. I no longer expected to win every trade. I no longer panicked when the market moved against me because I had already accounted for the risk. I accepted that I could lose, but I would never lose because I broke the rules. Are you trading with a clear process? Do you dare to look at your mistakes and correct them one by one? You know, trading without being torn apart by emotions feels very different. You no longer scream in your head that the market has to go up. You no longer breathe heavily when it reverses. You simply do your job. Observe, analyze, execute, accept the outcome, and learn. Mark Douglas once said the consistency you seek is not in the market. It's in your own mind. That quote stayed with me for years. And if you're searching for stability, if you're looking for a way out of the pain of repeated losses, I hope you pause and ask yourself, have you truly taken control of yourself yet? Only when you gain control of yourself can you begin to control your results in the market. And that's the day you truly grow up in the world of trading. I once wanted to give up. What about you? Have you ever felt like everything was against you? Have you doubted yourself, doubted your method, even doubted the dream you've been chasing? Have you ever stared at a chart and thought, maybe I'm just not meant for this? I've been there too. And if you're in that place right now, I want to tell you you're not alone. I've blown accounts. I've lost over $1 million in just 2 weeks. I blamed the market, the news, the indicators, everything but myself. And then one day I read Trading in the Zone. That book felt like a teacher tapping me on the head and saying, it's not the market that hurt you, it's that you didn't understand what you were doing. From that moment, I stopped chasing guaranteed systems. I stopped trying to guess where the market would go. I learned to accept not knowing. I learned to control only what I could control. And most importantly, I learned that consistency doesn't come from strategy. It comes from within. Are you trading with emotion? Do you change your method after a few losses? Do you break your rules because of fear or greed? If so, you're not wrong, you're human. But will you stay that way, or will you begin to change? I want to thank you for staying with me until the very end of this video. I know you didn't stay out of curiosity. You stayed because, somewhere deep inside, you've also been hurt by trading just like I was. I'm simply a few steps ahead. I've been lost, broken, and I once thought I'd never recover. So today, I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm just here to say everything will be okay if you start with the right mindset. In the next video, I'll share the next important chapter of this journey: emotional mastery. The most expensive lesson I learned from trading in the zone. Because I know many of us don't lose because of bad analysis. We lose because of anger, regret, panic, and endless greed. Do you want to explore that part more deeply? Are you ready to take a hard look at how you react to losses and to the market itself? If so, I'll see you in the next video. We'll keep going, slowly but steadily. Because only when we slow down and walk steadily can we truly go far. Don't rush this journey. Don't race against anyone. The only person you need to understand, to conquer, to surpass is yourself. This path is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming consistent. It's not about winning every trade. It's about showing up every day, calmly, clearly, and decisively. If you've come this far, you're not just a curious listener. You're someone who truly wants to change. You're someone who's been hurt and still chooses to keep learning. You're someone who dares to face the truth within and take responsibility for your own transformation. That makes you stronger than most. So, as we move forward together, remember this is not a race. There's no finish line to prove to the world. There's only you and the journey within. And if one day you find yourself tired again, doubtful again, on the edge of giving up again, I hope you remember this video and the part of yourself that once believed, once tried, and once decided to begin anew. You are not your losses. You are not your worst trades. You are not the fear or the mistakes. You are the one who gets back up, who learns, who grows. That's what makes a real trader. Not perfection, not prediction, not luck, but a quiet consistency, a disciplined heart, and an unwavering commitment to become better one decision at a time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. And if this message means something to you, I hope you'll stay with me on this journey. In the next video, we'll go deeper into the art of mastering emotion, the hidden game behind every trade. Because in the end, it's not the market we're fighting, it's the chaos within. See you in video 2. Stay grounded, stay sharp, stay free.